Hey guys, this is AwesomeJohn22 coming at you today with another review, specifically another Versus review, the second Versus review I've ever done on my channel. This one's going to be a little different. I'm not sure how well it's going to go, honestly, because today I'm taking a look at two leader class figures, which is, as I'm sure you understand, two very large figures, and could eat up quite a lot of time, so feel free to skip around the video to the relevant parts, should you get bored. I know I will. But anyway, yeah, today we are taking a look at two versions of Optimus Prime to determine which is better. Now, I probably would have done this as the original leader class Optimus Prime from the '07 movie versus our friend Age of Extinction Optimus Prime over here. As most collectors know that Revenge of the Fallen Optimus Prime over here is clearly the superior figure, but I no longer have Movie 1 Optimus Prime as a leader class figure, so I'm stuck with what I've got. So we're going to have to take a look at these two side by side and see what redeeming qualities, if any, this guy over here has, and if maybe he can pull a win out of his hat. So let's get started by taking a look at the vehicle modes. Looking at Revenge of the Fallen Optimus Prime, we can see he is a very, very accurate portrayal of the original Peterbilt cab-over from the first three movies. Cool Autobot symbol there. See, clear windshield with little gears and bits in there. And one of the things I love about this figure particularly is that all of these pieces you see, these windshields, these visors, these smokestacks, all of the wheels, all of them are those in the robot mode as well. There are no false parts on this figure at all whatsoever. And I think it really elevates the figure to another level. Coming around the back, we can see this shield here that would prevent the cab from the contents of the trailer spilling forward. We can see a trailer hitch here. And before anyone asks, yes, clear jeweled lights, that's pretty cool. Before anyone asks, yes, this is the original Revenge of the Fallen release. It is not any of the re-releases with the hooked arms or the battle damage or the transforming gas tanks or any of that nifty stuff. Nope, this is just the original figure. And I am perfectly content with that because the figure really is that good. However, taking a look at the Age of Extinction leader class figure, we can see that again, the truck mode is pretty accurate to what we would expect from the movie and from the trailers, and it looks pretty nice. It's got some sweet chrome, yellow windshields instead of clear ones, and chrome gas tanks, chrome smokestacks, weapon storage here, which is a little obtrusive. But we do have better weapon storage on the bottom for his other weapon. And overall, in terms of looking like a truck, I think both of them do a pretty equal job. And quite honestly, and I know this is going to piss a lot of people off, I really like this truck mode. I think it looks really good. And in terms of the truck themselves, I don't think either one is actually better than the other. So, we're going to have to decide the winner of this round based on which is the better toy. I know, reviewing a toy in one of my toy reviews, how despicable of me. But yes, we're going to have to take a look at these as toys, specifically. Looking first at this Optimus Prime, getting his counterpart out of the way. We've got, let's see, what's notable about this figure? Well, it's heftier. I know you can't really see that on the camera, but it is a heftier figure. It's got more weight to it. Better overall, I think, feel to the plastic. Cool chrome wheels, by the way. The smokestacks are rubber, which is a little disappointing, though I understand why they made it that way. Kids shouldn't have hard plastic shivs that they can stab their siblings with. I know, having several siblings, that I would have made some pretty horrific use of such things when I was a child, so let's keep those out of the hands of kids as much as possible. Taking a look again at Age of Extinction Optimus Prime. Again, this won't come over too well on camera, but he is not a very heavy figure. He's kind of light. You can feel that he's hollow, and the plastic just doesn't have the same feeling of quality as it does on the Revenge of the Fallen figure. There's also the issue that on this figure, weapon storage is much more apparent, whereas this guy arguably has better weapons than the Revenge of the Fallen Leader class figure, but that's not any excuse for them to be just sitting on the back of his truck. It's a little ugly. We have these smokestacks, but they're not soft. They're hard. Again, take that as you will, but I kind of like the soft rubber better. It's a little bit safer for kids. This is a toy for kids primarily, anyway. And looking here, we can see that it's very, very hollow here, which there are no hollow bits like that on the Revenge of the Fallen figure. It's just a much more solid build, and therefore I think the Revenge of the Fallen figure wins as a toy, and therefore wins the round. The victor of round 1, vehicle mode, goes to Revenge of the Fallen Optimus Prime. So let's move on to round 2, transformation, where we determine which figure has a better, more enjoyable transformation. We are going to start out with the Age of Extinction Optimus Prime, simply because it's my show and I want to. So let's go ahead and remove his shield gun, which we can take a look at now. And it is a very nice weapon, very cool red paint. You can see triple barrel blaster there at the end, but plenty of surface area for a shield. It looks almost like a tower shield, which is kind of cool, especially with the knight motif we have going with this movie and this line overall. Moving on to the figure itself, step 1, we're going to come down here and we're going to remove his sword from this little ring where it is sheathed underneath. And then we're just going to go ahead and take this little ring and we're going to loosen it up like so, and then accordion it down into place like that, which is where it will sit in his robot mode. Next we're going to come here and we're going to loosen the top, and then these bits here like so, and then just bring them out like so. Now we're going to come down here and loosen these panels on both sides, which loosens this entire back area and allows us to bring out his arms like so on both sides, just to get them kind of out of the way. And we can already see where this transformation is going here, people. It's not that difficult. Come up here, split the top of the cab, bring it forward and then around to make his shoulder pauldrons. Then we're going to bring this up, and then we're going to bring it, if you can see that, bring it down. Like I said, very large figures. I'm not really used to working with figures this large. But it comes down like so onto what will be the back of his robot mode, and which allows us to bring these in, which now we can see that his gas tanks are actually completely hollow, which they are not on the Revenge of the Fallen figure, and I think it loses this figure some points. We bring these in and bring these up like so to make his hip armor. Now we're going to bring these down and rotate around at what will be his waist, which might require pulling some bits back out of the way and some finagling, but eventually you will end up like this, like so. And really, it's the only annoying part of this transformation is getting his legs around, making sure you have room for them. Come down here, bring these up, split them, like so, and then rotate these grill pieces around, like so. Next, we're going to bring his legs forward one at a time, and rotate these bits out, like so. Show it from the other side, just like that. And we're going to come down here and fold out his feetsies, or I guess his toesies, since that whole thing is supposed to be his feet, I guess. And then rotate these wheel bits around. And quite frankly, That is the cleverest that this transformation scheme is going to get, is those legs that we just saw the way we just saw them, and that's already over. So yeah. Get these lined up. There you go, beautiful. Now we're going to fold this down, and moving back up top, we're going to fold this down, which reveals his head. And it's a pretty dramatic reveal, and it's a pretty cool head sculpt. And here we have Age of Extinction, Leader Class Optimus Prime. This is the retail version, not the first edition version, because if you think this looks bad, take a look at the first edition version. It's even worse. And feeling like I lined something up wrong in his arms. But no, that's just how they sit, I guess. I just never noticed it. And there we have him, and he looks pretty good. I mean, he's not bad. And he's got some chrome in his chest, and I'm not a fan of chrome. I mentioned that in my Grimlock review. I can understand why people like chrome. I can deal with it being there, but I personally am not a huge fan of it. But yeah, before we really judge this guy though, let's go ahead and get his counterpart transformed and take a look at them side by side. So for this guy, we are going to start by unpegging these smokestacks from here, and it's really difficult because they're kind of stuck back in there at this weird angle. But yeah, we get them loose, and then we're going to come up here. We're just going to kind of loosen this front panel here, and then we're going to come here and we're going to loosen these panels underneath here and just get everything loosened up, and then we're going to lift this up like so. Yeah. And take this whole thing and kind of bring it back, and then lower this down, and then we're gonna rotate these around, and oh, you know what, just forget it. Jump cut. And here we have Transformers Revenge of the Fallen Leader Class Optimus Prime in his robot mode. And let me tell you guys, that jump cut may have been instantaneous for you, but it was not instantaneous for me. It was, in fact, quite unpleasant, because as much as I love this figure, it is not a fun figure to transform at all. The movie Transformers, rather, have a complexity to their design that I really appreciate from a visual standpoint, but it's a hard aesthetic to represent as a toy. And astonishingly, you can hear my dogs back there again in the background. Astonishingly, this figure manages to do that. It is almost 100% on model with the movie counterpart, with some small differences like these slightly oversized panels in the arms, the visible swords, and the backpack being slightly less concise than on the movie model equivalent. But for the most part, you take a look at this guy, and it's hard to pick him apart from the actual on-screen character model. He is so close. All of these wheels, all of these panels, the windshields, the back panels, the smokestacks, all of these are the exact same as details as they are in vehicle mode. There are no false pieces, as I said before. He stores his weapons by folding them up into his arms and then folding them out when he needs them, just like his on-screen counterpart does. And he looks absolutely great in this mode, especially, and I absolutely love it. But having a pretty much screen-accurate vehicle mode, a pretty much screen-accurate robot mode, together, that means that he has an absolutely a daunting transformation. Daunting being the absolute nicest word I could think of. I can't imagine any kid picking this toy up and enjoying transforming it. I don't enjoy transforming this toy. It's frustrating. It's time consuming. It takes up a lot of space. I've transformed it like 3 or 4 times today just preparing for this review, and I still had trouble. And I absolutely, just a few minutes in, as you saw, could not even stand having to transform this thing from behind a camera. But that doesn't detract, I think, from how good the figure is. It's a fantastic figure. I mean, just look at it. Look at it compared to the Age of Extinction equivalent. The Age of Extinction equivalent has things in common with his on-screen model, but comparatively, there is no comparison. This figure wins robot mode, hands down. There's no argument, but it loses transformation. While this guy is essentially a shell former, his transformation is quick, concise, interesting, especially in the leg area down here, and very, very pleasant. It's a very fun experience. Here's a better view. A very fun experience compared to this guy over here. And while I'd like to say that the Revenge of the Fallen figure wins overall, I have to concede that our Age of Extinction competitor over here does do something right. Now, taking a look at the figures more closely, because this is first and foremost a review. We already saw the weapon on Revenge of the Fallen Optimus over here. Let's take a look at his articulation. He rotates in his arm. His arm can straighten out completely with the weapon deployed, but with it stored away, he can only straighten out about that far. He does have rotation at his head, but does not have any up and down movement. However, that is because he has an electronic gimmick that I absolutely adore. If I can get that to stay open. You can see he has green optics, which flash, as well as lights in his chest, and a nice voice clip. And I absolutely love it. It's very, very cool. In terms of his, let's see, where was it? His arms. He has rotation in his hands, in and out at the shoulder, and a full 360 at his shoulder. Though the shoulders like to come untabbed from the torso when you do that. He can move in and out at the legs, and these wheels even get out of the way to allow that. He can move forward and back, and bend at the knee. And he has all kinds of movement in his foot, allowing for really dynamic poses, and he does rotate very little in the thigh, but it is there and it is appreciated. And that's pretty much it for this figure in terms of his articulation, in terms of detail. He has a fantastic movie accurate head sculpt. The entire body is well painted, well detailed. Great flame designs down there. Cool metallic paint in various areas all throughout. And is just a good looking toy all around. Moving on to Age of Extinction Optimus Prime. We noticed the chrome already, which doesn't look bad. It's colored chrome here, which is considerably nicer than just chrome. Again, a very nice movie accurate head sculpt for the most part. I think he's a little narrower and a little fiercer looking on the figure than he was in the movie, but still not bad. You can see his smokestacks behind his shoulders where they belong, though the entire backpack sitting there right behind them kind of detracts from the overall aesthetic. His arms are very thin. His forearms should be much thicker and more armored here. And he has way too much armor in his shoulder and legs, and his legs are a bit thick, but they still look pretty cool, and I love the transformation of the legs enough that I'm not going to complain about it too much. Rather than his weapons storing in his arms, he has this sword, which I do not know the name of, so don't ask. And it slides into his hand, pegs into the palm, and then his thumb closes over it. And then he has the gun shield, or whatever it's called, which simply plugs into this peg, which we saw on his arm just a moment ago, And now he can use it to block, or he can use it to shoot. And all weaponed up, I think he looks considerably better than he does without his weapons. I typically have him posed with his sword kind of at the ready and his shield down at his side, as if he's, you know, getting ready to swing it up into place, you know. And I think he looks fairly good, but I don't think he holds a candle to our second competitor over here, who just oozes movie Optimus Prime. He looks like Optimus Prime. This guy looks like a toy. Let me put it that way, because that's really the best way I can think of to express how I feel about these two figures. One feels like a character, the other feels like a toy based on the character. So while I agree that this figure does have its merits, if you can still get your hands on Revenge of the Fallen Optimus Prime, definitely go for this guy. Though I will freely admit that the Evasion Mode Optimus Prime from the Age of Extinction toy line is a perfectly reasonable substitute and almost as good a figure. In fact, I'd go so far to say that in terms of everything but size, it is a better figure because its transformation is a lot more fun. And after all, these are Transformers. The transformation should be a big part of the appeal. Now, to answer a question that I know is on everybody and not just my own mind, we're going to see if our Revenge of the Fallen Leader Class Optimus Prime over here can hold his counterpart's weapons. Yes, he can. And that's awesome. But yeah, guys, those are my thoughts on the topic of which is the better Leader Class Optimus Prime. No real surprise there. Though I did kind of surprise myself giving even one category to our newer competitor from the Age of Extinction line. And while I think Age of Extinction Leader Class Optimus Prime is a perfectly good toy, and a perfectly reasonable purchase for anyone looking to collect the Age of Extinction figures, I can't help but see the flaws in his design. Though, there were quite a few flaws in the design of the original 07 Leader Class Optimus Prime as well that most people would not have even noticed had this figure not been released. Again, I don't think we would have noticed the flaws in this figure had this figure not been released. So I can only hope that for perhaps the second, or if he gets it, the third of the new trilogy of Transformers movies, Michael Bay and his people, though again I acknowledge that Michael Bay really has no say in the design of the Transformers toys, might release a figure of this character that is more up to the standards of this figure over here. It is perhaps a shallow hope, but it is hope nonetheless. Though it is far more likely that we'll just get several repaints and slight remolds of this guy over here. But you know, that's how it goes nowadays. So I'm not. Well, of course I'm going to complain about it, but I'm not going to complain about it right now, because that's pretty much it for this review. Like and subscribe, leave a comment down below if you feel so inclined. In the description down below, you will find a link to my blog as well as to my collections video. Check both of those out. If you see anything in that collections video that you'd like me to review, let me know and I'll see what I can do. This has been AwesomeJohn22, and I will talk to you guys later.